What is up, everyone? This will be my Wukong jungle video, one of the best junglers in the game. I'm going to make it real easy and teach you everything you need to know on how to play him. So for starters, we're going to be playing an Emerald Diamond MMR. I'm going to be in one of my placement games. Our runes, Conquer, Inspiration is the go-to. You can switch this one out for the damage one when they're lower, but it doesn't really matter. For builds, I personally like, you just have to go Triforce first every time. Second item is more flexible. You can go Sunder, Sky, Cleaver, or Eclipse. It's up to you to decide. Generally, Sunder, Sky, and Cleaver are just standard better into builds. For clears, you want to go into like red or blue solo. You always want to do a full clear early game, unless there's a really easy kill for you, but generally just default to full clearing. Wukong's really good into, AD comps. This team is pretty AP heavy, but it's still not that bad because they're champs. I'm generally just good in, these sort of melee scraps, right? Wukong might struggle a lot into like range mages, but he's quite good into melee comps where he can stack a lot of damage off. Here, you're always going to start E level 1, Q level 2. You're going to be maxing your Q first and then your E second. And here, you're going to be finishing off the red. And the important thing when you're clearing is just remember your Q is an auto attack reset. So resets, remember we talked about it. Q always after the auto attack when you're farming. Generally, this is just going to be happening a lot where you're going to be using your Q. But as you get more Q points into your Q, you're going to start using it by itself just because of the extra range it gets. Your Q extends the range a lot. So that's a big thing you're going to notice. It's going to make it like almost 500 range, which is really strong, and that's how you get a lot of Sheen procs going. So here, Eon, hit the red and kite backwards. Your pass is really good into AD. It gives you up to 37 armor, which is really broken. So you can see if you're against like a heavy AD comp, you're really broken, but not always going to be against that. For example, this game I'm against a pretty heavy AP comp, but realistically it doesn't even matter that much because we can easily itemize for MR later, or we are just so good in the game as a team fight champion that it doesn't matter that the enemy team is heavy AP. Wukong jungle is a level 6 jungler who's really broken around team fighting. And honestly, this meta is just heavily around team fighting for these objectives because literally there's an objective every couple minutes nowadays. This guy stole my blue. Interesting decision. So I'm not too worried about that because I still have my Grom. Whenever you invade a jungler and you take only one camp from them, the way I see it is it's never really worth. Here we're going to swing in. If he has flash, I'm going to flash after. What I'm going to try to do is get on him without him having... I'm going to flash if I have to afterwards. And yeah, if they steal your one camp from you, it's really never worth for them. So don't worry too much about that. Just make sure you get the Grom cleared because the Grom cleared is going to be good for you. And we're going to get the bot crab. We're pretty happy with this early game. Getting a kill early is like, incredible. And I think Wukong's one of the best junglers if you play heavily around farming and team fighting. You don't really want to waste too much time. He's really good in these sort of in and out scraps. You can gank lanes, but you have to remember, you don't really have any CC till 6. Your level 6 is really strong, so that's where you're going to get a lot of value from it. But beforehand, you're really going to be much weaker than you would hope in this situation. Waiting for him to E in. Now we can definitely go for the kill. And that Q should help her finish it off. So remember, your Q is the extra attack range. When you get 2 points into it, let me just show you the extra range right there. It's already expanding greatly. So you can see how much value that Q range is. So that's why the Sheen is really good. Honestly, when I'm buying, I don't mind going into like a Sheen first too. It really depends on what you want to build. You can also just go into like a full squishy glass cannon build, or you can just go into the phage and go into like swords and stuff as well. Usually I don't buy this by itself. I always one-shot the Sheen buy. So if you don't have the one shot, don't waste on that. Usually this priority, phage is #1 priority, or Sheen on Wukong, in my opinion. So here I could have my jungle stolen because I showed bot side for quite a long time. A lot of junglers will easily try to take advantage of that, invade you. But if they don't invade you and you're able to get this farm, you're in a really good spot. I generally never play for first dragon. I think you always prioritize your farm and play for first void grubs, just because the void grubs are going to be a much simpler play. Doing dragon is a really conditional thing. It would have to be, me clearing my jungle towards here, then seeing the jungler just all inning topside. That would be, possibly the dragon angle. But generally, it takes really long to do dragon. So what I do is heavy, I just get this farm cycle going because the grubbies are going to be up in 30. So if I'm able to get at least like my wolves down, I'll have most of my jungle cleared and I'll be really happy. Shen just running it down, love to see it. Sejuani, I mean, I'm not worried about her. I'm just tracking her in the sense I want to know if she's going for, you know, the grubs in a bit. Do I have to be on grubs right now? Can I just like mess around a bit around maybe, you know, getting this gromp? But realistically, I think I should be on the gromp now or the grubs now as Tom Kench has some priority. Me moving like this, revealing my location is never good, but it really depends if Pyke is roaming. So what I noticed right away was actually Sejuani was sort of moving bot side earlier, but now we can see she's here. So I'm able to just W here. Oh, actually messed that up. All right, that wall's a bit too thick. I'm trolling a bit right now. You don't do that. Scrap the tape. Scrap the tape. Be careful about your movements. Also, you should W right here and not here. This is way too thick. If I just waited here, I would have gone over the wall. And you're really safe realistically. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Honestly, I was just getting too much into my narration that I destroyed myself in the process. But yeah, you have to be careful about, you know, the Pyke roaming. In that situation, Pyke was roaming, so I wasn't going to get that, so I would have to be, you know, prepared to trade and get the other objective in that situation. Big mistake was crossing mid here just because the wave was pushed. I had no choice in the matter. But here I just want to get the crowd down. Enemy team is moving, grouping up here, so I have to be cautious about that. So I want to get the crowd first with my Jinx. Fighting is good, but fighting has to have, you know, generally the right people around. Like having Jinx here will help dramatically if you want to fight. Honestly, they're looking like they're extending pretty far. Jinx won't get that kill, but maybe we can get the other kill. So what I'm gonna do is just get in right away. Surprised she's 6 now. Hit another W, it's a possibility of a kill, but very nice. Headshot. Oh. Yeah, it's still fine. The game is still fine. You don't have to worry so much about a few blunders here and there. Our ball lane is really strong, so we're in a good position. Here, I'm going to steal the jungle. That was sort of a rundown angle. We weren't really playing for the dragon there. And the dragon isn't really going anywhere, so what I want to do is prioritize stealing as much of the Sejuani camp as possible. I am 6 now, so if this guy face checks, we can actually do something here. I'm going to ulti right away and see which direction he goes. And then ulti again. Sejuani's coming, so I kind of want to leave. So there you want to start with hitting them with a Q if your Q is up. Big reason for that is your Q is going to reduce their armor. So when you ulti, it also reduces the cooldown of your Q. So that's really important. Remember that kind of mechanics are just really good. And here we're going to W, and you can always W and then get a Q off. It's more of a complex mechanic, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. Here I just want to get my Triforce off of farming my top side. And then, you know, it's pretty much, if I cleared my Raptors, you know, the rule is you really do want to clear the rest of your top side. So here I want to get my red. Whatever happens bot side, it happens. This is their time. I already used my ulti on the Pyke, which is fine. It happens, you know. And here I'm going to W over the walls. The W over the wall is really good. Remember the time we messed it up, you know, it does have a range, but you honestly can get over most walls. You can get over this wall as well with your W. This one, remember, we got to be like this. So it's a bit of an early play. Mistakes were happening, so yeah, just don't worry though. Here I'm going to have my Triforce buy. I'm going to be really good. And let's talk about the feats. Feats, honestly, not that good. They're not like something you warp your game around. They're just there. And you just have to play the way you play the game normally. It doesn't matter. We have first blood, so what do we want to do? Get first tower, we'll get the boots. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that part is not that hard. When you get first blood, it pretty much warps this whole thing where first tower is just really easy to get. They're on the objective one, so they need first tower and the objective one, but we'll see what they get. So here, I'm going to try to bait them a bit. I'm not actually going to fight them here. They're all in this tower, though. I could bait it now with my team around. What we want to do is go on Sejuani here. And now the Galio as well. Very good fight because I'm pretty much a god shredder. And I do have ulti up now, so I can ulti. I could live here just because of my passive armor. Thankfully for the Shen ulti. Me and Shen, we go way back. Since the beginning of this game, we actually go way back. So you love to see that. And remember the important things, what if you really, you know, it's hard to track and hard to explain, but the ulti reduces your Q cooldown a lot. So some situations you're going to find yourself where you're you're pretty much not going to be, you're going to press R again to cancel your ulti and then Q them right away. Because your ulti damage isn't that high early. A lot of your damage is actually towards the initial part of it. And the knockup plus a couple spin cycles, then you're going to pretty much go for the Q damage. So they really want this objective bounty. So I might be in a situation here because I have to kind of like back up. So let's try this wall thing again. So here, this is how it should have initially been down. I just have to steal one initially and then we can stop their feast bonus. I kind of want to steal one, but I'm kind of going in blind. I'm really strong, so I don't mind fighting this guy. I need vision though. Come on, guys. We could easily walk in here, please. Por favor. You know what? I'm doing it. Pull me out, coach. Pull me out. I'm ready to go home. I have W ready, so I can W here. Played him like a fiddle. We go in, Tom. Tom, I'm not here for excuses, Tom. We go in. You go. You take that. Oh, shit. Tom, you die for me. Holy, this champion is broken. Did he just tank like a million shots there? God damn. Tom Kench. Here, I could help them push, but honestly, I just really want to base. Like I said, I like Cleaver a lot if the enemy team is tanky. I just like Cleaver because it gives you a lot of more movement speed on your attacks and your ability haste is really high. It gives you really good into beefier comps if you sort of find yourself with any sort of beefier comps. And most importantly, it shreds a lot of armor. Your ulti spin pretty much shreds them completely. So you're shredding plus 30% armor from your Q, which is really high. And then another 30 from your R. So pretty much you're really good into any sort of armor stacking. So your team somehow ends up 80 heavy, for example, then Wukong going Cleaver second would be really good. The Q, you see I'm always kind of utilizing that attack reset, auto attack Q. Some situations you will notice me going just for the Q, right? So it's a bit of a situational thing that you have to remember. Here I don't mind just walking up, queuing him. You're always playing around this sort of weaving in, getting these random Qs off. Your whole game plan is around non-stop getting these Q hits with your Triforce proc. And if you're able to kind of get away with it without sort of getting punished. I do have ulti, so I don't mind here. Oh, I'm gonna get the ward before I die. Obviously, that was a bit too spicy. But you saw how clean I was. You saw that. Overall here, we look at the itemization. You always want to go Merc Trezling into these heavy comps. It's going to be very good for you. So right now, we're all fighting for first tower. First tower will give us the feast bonus. But like I said, it's not game changing. It's not going to lose you the game if we don't get this. But it is nice, and you do want to get it. That's why I say First Blood is just so overwhelming, because it just kind of like makes it very easy. Like for example, she just got it right there, so very easy to get the bonuses. And I talked about it earlier, I just really do like my ulti cooldown being reduced with Cleaver. I also like, you know, Sunder Sky some games as well. You can always go Cleaver into Sunder Sky, which I like, or into some comps I go like Frozen Hard. If it's a good auto, if they're heavy AD with auto attack champions, you want to itemize into the Frozen Heart. It's a really good buy. Not big on Sterix because I think, well, I just don't like Sterix. Let me save my smite. Let's go on her here. Remember auto Q and then dash on. You hug her body, she can't dash over the wall. And then you just wait for the next Q cycle. And here you want to kind of Q again. Keep cycling through these Qs, right? You're all about these Q cycles. You're not one-shotting people. You're always proccing. And don't expect to one-shot people. It's a lot of Q proc, Q proc, Q proc damage sort of thing. Here I'm going to probably W in, hit a Q, E, R right after knock up as much. Try to Q as much before I get CC. Probably knock him up and spin a bit. I'm really low, so I don't think I'm going to fight again. Gwen could be sneaking up here. I could outplay her, but she's pretty strong as well. Here, check jungle camps and then Q backers. Or W backers as you are in the Q animation. Your W creates a clone. Your W initially, if you can save it for after you go in, it's much better. Like if I can have my W up as I EQ in, it's really good. Because I can just dash, invis, and then ulti right after, so you can find that. You'll find that much more impactful. But some situations will be different. So here I just want to get on her right away. Q and then W after like that. And then you'll have a couple auto attacks in, and then you're going to have another Q up. And that's all you're pretty much doing. Chasing, moving with the Q. And you really want to wait for your ulti. Your ulti is really important. So here I'm going to just wait. Just Q him, W to try to juke with it. Then just kind of kite. This guy's for sure dead. So I'm just going to leave. Sejuani might ult me, so I'm going to just like move in like sort of like lines in a way. Thing about me is I can W and my clone will pretty much block skill shots, right? Very powerful tool. You're going to be using that a lot as well. And you can see the W really jukes them out. Very confusing here for them. But you do have to wait a bit if you're going to go in again. You can go for like random Qs like this. But you don't really want to go in yet until you feel confident. Now I'm going to go in. Probably go on him. Do as much damage as I can. Honestly, maybe I've overplayed there, but it's still really good. Here you do want to upgrade the boots. People at Riot are saying like the boot upgrades sometimes aren't worth it. Trust me, they're worth it. What they're saying is just trying to cope. They're trying to cope with how broken they made this objective. If you get it, it's great. You should upgrade it. But is it going to win you the game? No. Unless the conditions are good. In this example, against an AP heavy comp, getting Merctress boots is very broken. Same thing with armor boots. Against an AD heavy comp, getting armor boots is broken, right? So there are conditions where the boots are very broken. But there are conditions where they're not that great. Swifties in general is really good on certain champions. Like, it has a lot of value. The movement speed is really strong. So overall, I think Swifties, if you utilize it well, it's very broken, even after the nerfs. The rest of the boots are like whatever though. So that's how I look at it. I look at it as an armor and MR boot against a heavy AD or MR comp. It's very broken. But that's like why I think in this meta, team comp is really important. Having team comp, if you have way too much of like AD or AP, it's really bad, even more now. Also, Wukong, what I really like is I'm able to shred that much armor. So if they're stacking armor boots, like this champion stacking all this armor, really unreal. I'm able to shred so much for my Jinx to actually do a lot of damage, right? Very important stuff. And here I'm just farming. This is like downtime. No objectives are up. Just pretty much farm. Thing is, you're not going to have a lot of time later to farm. So what I like to do is just get it out of the way right now. The way I look at it is there's going to be like 4 objectives coming up at once. Like we're going to have Dragon, then we're going to have the Otacon guy. So you're always going to be in these sort of situations. Your time is going to be very limited. So you just have to understand that. You really do have to find these windows to farm. That's why I emphasize a lot on it. And you just have to fight for these objectives. For example, if you're on the team that's winning these fights before, like Dragon, sometimes Otacon will just be right here spawning. You get this objective right after him. It's really broken. It'll win you the game quite often. Even the petals itself, even though they have been nerfed slightly, they're still really good on champs that have, you know, 80 or AP scaling. Like Wukong, very good AD scaling, very good with the petals. It's really good for him. He's in a good spot. Yeah, just because it's good, like, it doesn't mean it's a AFK farm meta. It's not that at all. It's more so that it's more of a... I always want to get these Qs off. We don't want to W yet until we feel like we want to go in with our key, pretty much. So, like, we're really slow about how we play these things. You don't want to waste your ultimate. Your ultimate is the most important thing as Wukong, so you just wait for the angle for it. There's no rush, in my opinion. We have the Otacon buffs coming up. This is why I like Wukong, because, you know, you're just able to kind of play for these sort of objectives really well. You can see I'm able to shred so much armor there. Beautifully done by my team. Tom Kench, if you eat me again, god damn, I might fall in love. This guy, we're not going to let him bait, so we're going to do his W. Probably save our W. You can always bait as well. Remember, just stay out of range of this. Let the Tom tank, and then W. Your W increases your damage because it mimics your abilities. Your Q will be mimicked, your ulti will be mimicked, but it does get it mimicked. It does apply at a reduced damage, so 40% right now. Generally, it's 30. It goes higher as you put more points into it. But it does do a relative good amount of damage. And this boot's overall really good investment. I feel like Riot doesn't understand, in my opinion, that like... Also against AP comps, I like Sunder Sky as like an MR item. It sounds like stupid. There's no MR in it. But Magic champions struggle with sort of DPSing you down. So this item, because it's going to give you more healing, it's good into like mages. It's good into like more AP comps, in my opinion. And afterwards, going Spear Visage would be like my next item. With like a DD as like my final item. That's how I see it. So I also like Ability Haste a lot. So building Ability Haste on Wukong is a plus. Xerix, I don't like it because it doesn't have Ability Haste. So I prefer to go like this into Spear Visage into like a other item as well. He was moving this way, so I'm going to cut him off here. He doesn't want to show, so we're going to go kill the Pike. One Q should do it. Here we're going to always start, you know, just our E. Q because the range is extended. Bait him out a bit. We can always bait him out here too because we can W. And our Mimic will actually do the damage here. So if you W backwards and then you ulti, you're still knocking them up because your W is going to be the one like spinning. So there's a lot of cool mechanics you can do with Wukong. A very strong champion. One of the best right now. Because of how incredible of a team fighter he is and how well he is into these sort of metas. Petals are really good for him too. Extra 15 AD. Really nice for him. But overall, like this games, usually games are done by Otacon too. If you play well, if you itemize well. If you want an MR item, usually it's a Spear Visage sort of built later on. But you are very, you know, possible... Ooh! Where was my toad? God damn, Tom. If you licked me there, I would have... I love it. I don't like Maw as much. I think Maw's a bad item, but it's okay sometimes. You just always want to kind of check what kills you. The turret. I knew it. Abyssal Mask also not bad as well. Visage or the Mask. This amplifies your team damage quite a lot. This will be more selfish stats. If I had like a decent amount of AP in my team, this could really amplify a lot of it. But if I want to be selfish, I'll just go Visage. This should be enough against like the AP. You don't want to overstack resist, especially as like a non-tank. You're usually just getting like 1 or 2 items. Like if I'm going to go Visage, I'm going to go DD. I don't want to build too much tank on Wukong because you still want to build more damage because you're strong. You really scale well off of damage. But you do need some tankiness. You will need like the DD against AD or the Frozen Heart into like auto attack champs are really good for him. I generally find myself building like 1 tank item at most. Sometimes 2. Like if it's a Randuin's game, it could be really good to have a Randuin's against a double crit comp. But that's about it. But yeah, games feel like you don't really go to Dragon Soul. So you... Is that a flower? So if you want to click them, you have to look sort of like onto the edge here. There we go. Really hard to click on that one. Okay. So here if you're looking for then engage, always use the walls with your W if you're looking for engages. You always want to come from angles. I don't think Pike will steal this, so I'm not worried about him. I'm going to focus on just clearing this really fast. So here we're going to fight. We're going to go on her path. And ulti and spin around. Go on the evolution right away. And just very clean ulti. Remember, sometimes you're canceling your ulti because just staying there, spinning around initially when the knockup is over, it's not going to get you that much more damage. Sometimes you want to get that quick Q in and then get the next spin cycle. The next spin cycle, you can wait longer, but you're pretty much double knocking them up, right? It's a short knockup, but you have 2 of them, so... And your Q, if you're hitting someone with their ulti that late in the game, it's going to be right back up, so you can Q them and knock them up again. But I hope you guys like that video. I hope you guys like this Wukong game. I think that would help you a lot. He's one of the best junglers in the game. It's going to do really well for your climb. And yeah, good luck on the game. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Twitch. I'm going to be streaming soon. And yeah, good luck on the climb.